Every week, we talk recruiting. We talk recruiting here on DCTF Live. And who better to talk recruiting with than the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football? We are pleased to be joined by James Lott. James, long time no see.
Fellas, what's going on? How's it going over there?
How was your 4th?
Beautiful. Hung out with the kids down here in Frisco. Went out there a little bit too early. Got out there about 4 o'clock. By about 4:30, I was out of gas, and my kids were still rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But
you got to put on the governor these days. You got to kind of even it out.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I should have waited for 5 minutes before the fireworks to start before I went out there. But oh well.
We are here talking today about defensive ends, and there's a handful of really impressive edge rushers here in the Lone Star State, guys who don't necessarily fit that mold as the offensive outside linebacker, but rather look like purebred defensive ends, purebred edge rushers, and a couple of defensive tackles as well. When you look at these defensive linemen we're talking about, overall this looks like maybe not necessarily the most top-heavy group, but definitely a very deep group.
Deep group, and the kid I'm the most impressed with is Eren Brown over there at Den Ryan. I've seen this kid here the last couple of years, have watched him up close, saw him over at the school a couple of times. He looks the part, impressive up close, about 6'4", 6'5", 235 pounds, 4'8" kid. Right now, supposedly he's committed to Northwestern. Strong academic kid. Had 30-plus offers, but when I look at him on tape, excellent size and length, great frame. You know, he's got a college-ready body already. Explosive first step quickness, gets the ball really well. They move him around. Most of the time he's playing interior, but they will move him on the outside, but just unblockable when he wants to play and when he wants to turn that motor on. Can disrupt what the offense is trying to do all the time, but just a great another great player that's coming out this year. And like Den Ryan really needs more players, but this kid here is going to be special on their quest for a 5A state championship this year.
You know, when you look at Eren Brown out of Denton Ryan, the thing that I think that stands out to me that I think a lot of people may not necessarily immediately look at when they're judging an edge rusher. This kid, yes, I understand that he's 6'5", but he's long. He looks longer than that, and it seems like his wingspan goes from here around the world. I look at that and seeing his arms basically hang down to his knees, that's got to be a huge selling point for recruiters.
Huge, because he can get those hands up and knock the ball down, and he can also reach out and control those offensive linemen. But he's got all the tools needed to play at the next level and be successful. It'll be interesting to watch him this year develop, but I really, really like him and what he brings to the table.
Another defensive lineman that I know that folks around the Houston area are definitely familiar with would be Katy defensive lineman Corey Bethley, another guy. Talk about a program that's not necessarily hurting for athletes, but they got another one in Corey Bethley, a 6'1", 270, a beefy guy who gets off the ball really quickly. When you're watching film and you're seeing Corey Bethley in action, what are you seeing?
Totally different type of kid than Eren Brown. Corey's more of a shorter, compact kid, but nevertheless very explosive in the interior, disruptive, can disrupt what the offense is trying to do interiorly there. Hard to move, plays low to the ground with good pad level and leverage. And what I like about him also is he plays with a good motor. He's always going. He chases balls all over the field, but just another great prospect that's impressive to watch, that's going to have a great future ahead of him. He's got 14-plus offers right now. Oklahoma, Houston, USC are some of the people that have offered him. But another great player, like Katy needs another one also, to help them go go for another state championship this year.
The thing that stands out to me is you look at his numbers from last year on a defense that was legendary, a legendary 2015 KD defense that was just loaded. And here's a guy who carved out for himself 62 tackles and 16 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. I can understand if you have those kinds of numbers, if you're the only really big-time playmaker that your team has. But for a guy on a team that was as loaded as 2015 KD, to have those numbers is jaw-dropping to me.
Right. And it starts up front. Everything starts up front, and he's right over the ball, and he's coming off that ball, and he's firing out, and he's in that backfield. But like I said, what I like about him the most, he's relentless. He will pursue the ball all over the place, and he never stops till that whistle blows. So I really, really like watching this kid play.
We're talking with James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. You were a man after Max's heart when you added a Hutto Hippo to the list this week. Defensive end on Dario Robinson. This kid, I feel like this is a perfect example of a guy who's just now starting to get the hype train rolling.
Yeah.
Because you hear a little bit about him, but all of a sudden everyone kind of starts watching his film and everybody goes, man, this guy can play. Dario Robinson is awful impressive.
Right. And from what I understand, I think he had some out-of-state offers earlier, and I'm saying 2-3 months ago he may have just had Georgia and someone else as an offer, and then all these in-state folks hopped on him here within the last 2 months. But when you watch him, he and what you see is a good player, good size. He plays both tight end and defensive end. They move him around. They'll put his hand in the dirt. They'll stand him up. But he's a good pass rusher, does a good job of engaging offensive linemen, being able to redirect and run down plays backside. But and I think when you watch him, people look at that explosiveness that he has, and they look at his potential, not necessarily on how well he's played. When you watch him, you see, and this kid's got so much more that it seems like he hadn't shown yet. So I think he's really going to blow up here over the next 6 months or so once the season starts rolling. So I look for him to get some more offers here during the 2016 season.
And you're exactly right. Here's a guy who he got offered from Georgia in September last year, and then he got offered from Missouri, and then it kind of went quiet.
Right.
Everything kind of went quiet, and then all of a sudden, SMU, UTSA, Arizona State, Colorado, New Mexico, Houston, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Baylor. It seems like for these guys, when it comes to offers, when it rains, it pours.
Exactly. And then some of the time what happens, believe it or not, some of these schools actually star watch. They hear 3-star and they may not even look at the kid. But then you turn the tape on and you're like, wow, how is this kid only a 3-star? But nevertheless, an impressive product that's got a great upside. He's got unlimited potential, great athlete. So I look for him to really, really have a great season this fall and blow up even more.
He is James Lott. He is the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at JL Scouting. James, appreciate your time, and we'll do it again next week.
Okay, guys. You have a good one.